Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. I thought this would be the appropriate moment to tell this story because I'm taking a drive. I live in Lubbock. I'm taking a drive to Fort Worth to drop off. And I apologize for the awkward position because obviously I'm driving. But so I bought a jet ski about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. This is a brand called TAIGA, and it's a Canadian company. They make an all-electric jet ski. The model is called an Orca. So I read some reviews on this, but basically I suffered from the early adopter phenomenon, right? So I was so excited, and this is I think I ended up getting like the number 70 unit or something. So first year out, new product, trying to, hold back my enthusiasm and wait for it to kind of flesh itself out. But I didn't. I kind of went ahead and bought it. I've done this before. The world needs early adopters, and I'm kind of one of those people that's kind of an early adopter of technology. So this is an all-electric jet ski. I think the specs are that it can go up to 50 miles per hour, and it can go up to 46 miles range. Of course, if you know anything about any vehicle, when you're going the max speed, you, of course, don't get the max range, but that's neither here nor there. So I bought this jet ski, and I was very happy with it. Got it home, took it to our local lake, and started riding it. And the beauty of electric is that I can ride it, and then I can charge it up overnight. It takes about 14 hours to charge 18 jet skis in my lifetime. So I have a little bit of experience with gas-powered jet skis. But I take it to the local lake, and I'm pretty happy with it. It has good power, it has terrific speed, but I quickly start figuring out that the battery will last about 45 minutes or an hour, depending on what I'm doing. But the bigger problem, so actually the battery life is actually not bad. The bigger problem is that it overheats. So it has two temperature gauges on it. It's got a battery temperature gauge, and it's got a motor temperature gauge. And of course, I believe it's got a cooling system built in. You would think, in order to deal with that. Of course, this is a Canadian company, so I presume testing might have happened in Canada, and that might have happened in colder water conditions, colder air conditions maybe. And let me take a step back. This company called TAIGA, T-A-I-G-A, is previously known for electric snowmobiles. So perhaps their technology is built around working in cold temperatures and trying to stay warm, as opposed to working in warm temperatures and, as it turns out, trying to stay cold. So anyway, what will happen typically is I hop on the jet ski, leave the dock, and I look at my temperature gauges, and there's a low point and a high point. And I've got some, this probably deserves a real video to talk through all this stuff and show you pictures of the display and things like that. But basically, when I'm leaving the dock on a cool day, the battery temperature gauge is about 1/3 the way up. If I leave the dock on a hot day, it's either about halfway up or a little bit more, maybe 60% towards the hot side of temperature. So, this is a summer device. This is a device to be used in the summertime in warm weather when you have warm water temperatures, because it's a jet ski. You're going to get splashed. So you're not going to use this thing in freezing cold temperatures, not like the snowmobiles that they manufacture. And you're not going to be really, what I've figured out for me is about 75 degrees. If it's below 70, it's a little chilly. but above 75, it's a very comfortable ride, and basically as hot as you want to get, because you can always cool off by kind of purposely splashing yourself. So anyway, I'm leaving the dock, and the temperature gauge is about a third or a half or a little over a half. And what will happen is, obviously, just like any other vehicle, as you're using it, especially in kind of high performance mode, you'll build heat. And so what will happen is, I'll take a fast run across the lake, probably a half mile or so, fast run across the lake a couple of times, and about 10 or 15 minutes later, as I kind of do a couple of fast runs, but otherwise ride kind of reasonable speed, suddenly the temperature gauge will be sitting at the high line, and it will now start derating itself. It will start backing off the power in order to not overheat, which is all well and good for any sort of technology to protect itself. However, in all the times, I don't know everything about every jet ski, but I've rented 12 or maybe 15 of them in my lifetime, and I've never had a gasoline-powered jet ski derate or power down because of overheating. It just basically runs hot, blows off the heat, and it's basically designed to handle that heat. So what I think is, well, I should ask the company about this. I should email them, and I do. I email them, get to a service kind of engineer or service provider and stuff like that. Start sending them videos, pictures of the screen, kind of descriptions of what's going on, and saying, hey, listen, it's all well and good for about 15 or 20 minutes, but at about some days about a third the way into the battery pack, I'm overheating and then derating, and it derates very aggressively down to the point where you can barely move through the water. And then of course it, over the next couple of minutes, it'll give you back some reasonable amount of power, but you're basically tooling around at low speed, which, if you know anything about jet skis, they're not designed to tool around at minimal speed. Like this is not the concept of what a speedboat or a jet ski is. It's kind of not the point, right? The point is to go fast, and maybe intermittently so, but if I want to go fast and and drain the battery quickly, I should not be hindered by overheating at, a third of the battery or a half of the battery, and then having it basically have to go at a snail's pace the rest of the battery. So I email them, and I get in touch with some of these service advisors, and they start downloading some data off my vehicle. It's a very connected vehicle. It has cellular connectivity, so they can download kind of performance logs and these kind of things. And they're like, well, nothing we're seeing looks abnormal. And so I start having this conversation with them about how, well, it's derating, and I don't want it to derate. Like, if the cooling system cannot handle the heat, perhaps you guys should upgrade the cooling system. And I was willing to work with them, and I wanted to kind of partner with them and say, hey, listen, I'm a former engineer. I have an engineering degree, so I am willing to be your test bed down here in warm Texas, and try to do some experimentation. You guys can push some software updates to my vehicle, and we can play around with it and see if we can do anything to improve the performance and get it dialed in. And even if they wanted to bring it in and try to put kind of an experimental upgrade to the cooling system to try to have it handle overheating and this kind of stuff. And they said, yeah, but this all seems normal. I don't see anything abnormal about how your vehicle's behaving. But I guess the point is, this jet ski, even though it's touted as kind of a revolution and kind of the next generation, again, of a fully electric jet ski, I consider myself an environmentalist, and I drive a Tesla, and I love my Tesla, and I think it performs fantastically. I wish Tesla would make a jet ski, because I think they would figure out how to get it to perform and not have these problems, because my Tesla does not overheat. Even if I hit it and go full speed and really go into kind of performance mode and really nail that gas pedal to the accelerator pedal and really drive fast, there's no point at which it overheats or anything like that. So obviously it's been fleshed out and experimented with, and they figured out how to make it operate well in basically all circumstances. So the TAIGA company is basically a little disappointing with this. So let me go a little bit further, because eventually I'm basically resigned to the fact that, okay, this is the vehicle that I have. I have an electric jet ski, which, depending on the day, will give me a third of a battery, maybe a half a battery of kind of normal performance. And after about 20 or 25 minutes, now I'm just tooling around the lake at very low speed. And I'm kind of resigned, and I'm saying, okay, that's what I have. I have a little buyer's remorse. I'm an early adopter, and it bit me again. And so I'm just kind of dealing with this situation. And then over the winter time, of course, I pull it out of the water, but there is antifreeze in it, and there's coolant in it, and there's no reason not to just leave it kind of up on a dry dock and just leave it there. Because where I live here in Lubbock, Texas, there are some days, even in the winter time, where the temperature only goes up to 75 or 80 degrees in the afternoon, and so while you can go and run it. And so anyway, I get back to, so this is about, I picked it up a little less than 2 years ago, and this was near the end of the summer, so I probably used maybe another month off and on, and because I picked it up in August, probably early August. Did very heavily in August, and then in September, about a third of the days or half of the days, and then I kind of tucked it in winter, didn't use it much, and then it comes around to the next summer, and I start using it, and everything's great. Towards the end of that, basically a year after I got it, I have a situation where, there's two different situations. Number one, I go out, when I haven't ridden for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, and I go out, the battery's full. Every time you charge it, the battery is showing 100%. And I go out there, and I go around and do some stuff, and suddenly I can't go anywhere. And so the best I can figure is that it had 100% battery power when I left the dock, but it has to look at the battery voltage in order to know how much fuel, how much range it has left. And it's hard to compute while you're